I was born in Ramallah in 1946 to a Ramallite family. My father's name was Jalil, my mother's name was Salime, and we were born, we were living in the old city of Ramallah in a section called Gdere. My grandparents were living in one of those old baits, which is one room. And when my father got married, we had to go rent a room in somebody's house. That's where I was born. I grew up in that area. I had a bunch of friends, and it was like anybody's young age boys playing around, shooting marbles and doing things like that. When I turned 16, we had a piece of land in an area called Al Masyoun. My father was a builder. He was in construction. He built lots of Ramallah houses and El Bira, which is a city adjoining to Ramallah. So he built a house in Al Masyoun. We moved there. I was 16 years old. At that time, or before that, I joined the Boy Scout organization, Ramallah, Sariyat Ramallah. And I met Jamal, my friend, and a bunch of other friends. And the other person that I want to mention is Ibrahim, that we graduated. I graduated from Ramallah High School, and there was no jobs there. At that time, Muntazah Ramallah, which is the garden of Ramallah that belonged to the city hall, the city of Ramallah, it was leased to the Boy Scout organization, which I was a member of. So I got a job there, me and another person managing the place. We worked there for a year, and after that, they were done with it, so we had to do something. So we discussed traveling for higher education. So I talked to my friend Jamal Nassar and the other person, Ibrahim Lada, and we decided we want to go to the United States, pursue our education. We went to our parents, and boy, they deliberated so long, shall we or shan't we? Finally, they decided, the three fathers, to meet and decide whether they let us go or not. Okay, they decided they let us know. And at that time, we were kind of active in, you know, like with the Jabha and things like that. It was a friend of my grandfather. He was part of the Jordanian secret police. So he came to my grandfather, and he told him when the young guys are leaving. So my grandfather told him, and he says, you better let them hurry up. There is an order, I don't know when, but there is an order from the Jordanian government that they're gonna come and arrest them. So we kind of rushed it. So we we talked to our Boy Scout leader. I think at that time he was Isa Musa, and he talked to the mayor, which was Nadim Zaru, and we got together and we decided we're going to leave like within a few days. So we packed our backpack and we went to Jerusalem. We met with the governor of the area in Jerusalem, and they said goodbye to us, and we were planning to hitchhike all the way across Europe to London, take a train to London and to England, and try to get a ship to work in from Hampstead to New York. So anyways, we traveled for a little over a month through Syria, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Turkey, all the European, Eastern European, Western European countries. We got to London. There was a friend of us who was going to college there. He's staying with his aunt. His name is Azam. I forgot his last name. So he took us by train to Hampstead to see if we can get a ship. But we met with the Boy Scout leader in Hampstead, which I think he was the mayor of the city too at that time. So he got us his office. He served us tea and cookies, and he got on the phone trying to the ship company, trying to get us a job on the ship. He called about 6 or 7 of them. They find out that you have to be a union member to be able to work. So we kind of gave up. We went back to London. We went to Heathrow. We took a flight to New York. In New York, in Hampstead, actually, New York, our previous Boy Scout leader was there. So we went to his house, and we stayed there for 3 days. After that, our third friend, Ibrahim, he had a brother in Detroit. He took a flight to Detroit. Me and Jamal, we took a Greyhound bus to Houston, Texas. I have a distant uncle that he visited Ramallah one time, and he told me if I ever come to college there, you stay in my house. So I went to him, and he was living in Houston. And Jamal also went to Houston. He stayed with a couple of friends, and I stayed with him. And after that, went to college for like about a couple of semesters. Unfortunately for all the things I taught there, I already know from high school in Ramallah. You know, it's like they were way behind, I felt. You know, what did they teach me? Nothing. Yeah, anyways, 10 months later, my dad, I have an aunt in Detroit, Michigan, that she did papers for my father. We left before the war in 1966. My dad, after the war, the construction business almost died, nothing. So he decided he wanted to come here. So his sister did the papers for him, and he came to Detroit, and I moved to Detroit. I went to college for another year or so. I remember it was called Craft High School, Community College or something, Schoolcraft. Anyways, I went there. I worked for General Motors subsidiaries called Detroit Diesel for a while. And I got drafted to the Army. So I had my training in Fort Knox, Kentucky, and then my advanced training in Fort Polk, Louisiana. All that time, we were in Ramallah, we were a part of the folklore dance groups, which was sponsored by the city of Ramallah, which I met a girl there. And we were corresponding all that time. Okay, then after Fort Polk, I was stationed, and I was lucky, that was 1969. Vietnam was at the highest of it. I was lucky I got stationed in Germany. So while I was there in 1970, I had like about 6 months left for my service. So I decided I want to go back to Ramallah and get married. I almost, it was a shock. I couldn't believe what my eyes saw. That was in 1970. Jeeps roaming around the city. Nobody can talk to anybody. I got so frustrated that time. I was walking with one of my friends who was still there, and there was a Jeep passing by. I picked up a stone. I was going to throw it. He says, "Bala, don't do that. You want to get us in trouble?" So but it was kind of very sad. Sadness that you hit your heart that you're occupied. This is not the way it's supposed to be. But anyways, I was there for only a month. So I went back to Ramallah. My parents was in Detroit, Michigan, around Detroit. And my grandparents were still there. So I went back there and married the girl we were corresponding. And I left her there to finish her papers to come to the United States. I went back I had like 1 month furlough. I went back to Germany, finished my tour, and she got her paper and she traveled to Detroit, and she stayed with my family by herself for like about 5-6 months till I finished, and we went back there. We had our first son in Detroit, Michigan. My family moved to California, and after a year or so after they moved, I followed them. We started a business together. And I retired, and I was in the business for 31 years. I retired in 2005. And I'm doing nothing practically, playing a little golf, active in Ramallah Club of San Francisco. And I come to conventions, mid-year meetings, not as often as I like, but I do, and that's about it. Okay. Went back home, I'm going to go back if you don't mind me saying that, in 1994. I went back to home for a visit. And that's the most shocking experience I've had when I saw Ramallah the way it was. That's in 1994. I went to my old neighborhood, Ligdere, and I walked out of there and I looked all that concrete jungle that was there, and I started crying. I couldn't help myself. It was so emotional, I couldn't help myself. And what I saw there, I said, this is not Ramallah. That's not where I was born. That's not where I was raised. This doesn't belong to me. And apparently they don't want me there, because you walk in the streets and they look at you as, who are you? Apparently they could tell that we're not from there anymore. In 1998, in 2018, I went to the convention, Ramallah Convention, and I got in a cab with my family. I took my family, my kids, my grandkids, got in a cab, and the driver starts saying, "أنتم من America? You're from?" I said, "Yes, we are, but نحن من Ramallah. We're from Ramallah originally." He said in Arabic, I'll say in Arabic and I'll try to translate it. So Allah عليكم يا أهل Ramallah. أنتوا هلا صرتوا, he was going to take us to the hotel where the convention is. So أنتوا صرتوا تسكنوا بالأوتيلات وإحنا أخذنا بيوتكم. Yeah, that means you're living in hotels now and we took over your house. I told him, "You're 100% right, my friend. Unfortunately, that's okay." Says, but that was a really very, in 1994, that was the worst experience for me, that visit to Ramallah, the way I saw it. And I didn't really care for the way it is. But I went back to the convention, 1918. I would go again. Anytime I get a chance, I would go visit again because it's still my town. I have very strong passion for it. Well, I tried to tell them that the city was the most beautiful city in Palestine. It was a summer vacation for Palestinians, people from other Arab countries, and it's beautiful, all the trees, all but I also tell them it's changed, it's not the same anymore. Actually, when we visited in 2018, they loved it. They loved it, and my kids and my grandkids, they said, "We would love to go back and visit again." Mind you, not live again. We would love to go back and visit again. So I tried to keep in them the spirit that you are from Ramallah, and they were lucky that both their father and mother, they have Ramallite parents, so that's a good thing too.